Ah, right on time. How was your journey? Good. I like your outfit today. Shall we? Have you been to this museum before? Well, you're in for a treat. They hold some great exhibits, and their displays are fantastic. I know I'm first and foremost a literature professor, but I do teach history as well. My favorite era? That's like asking my favorite book. All histories have their moments, both highlights and stains of their past, and all of them are intricate, and they weave with others until you can't tell where one thread ends or another begins. Take the Rosetta Stone, for example. It was made more than 2,000 years ago with an inscription of a Ptolemaic decree written in 3 scripts: Egyptian hieroglyphs, Egyptian Demotic, and Ancient Greek. Translating the Greek text was paramount in decoding the Egyptian scripts. One culture's language unlocking another 2,000 years later. It's history that has survived, but can now also be understood. I don't know what it is about history that intrigues me. It might be that everything that has been is history. These displays are here for us to appreciate where they came from and to learn from people who existed a long time ago. But it also tells us that, as a people, we will forever need guidance. We will make mistakes, and in the future, people will look back on our past and be informed by it. It's a never-ending cycle that we will one day be a part of. That is life. And when it comes to literature, it's how we understand. Word of mouth was used long before, and stories were passed down through generations. But each time a story was told, it would change slightly. Give it a few hundred years, and the story might no longer be the same. With orthography, scripts, a story can be set in stone, so to speak. Many people take that for granted, I think. How many years of history would be lost without the writers to give it a physical form? Forgive me. I can ramble at times. There's nothing cute about it. I'd prefer to call it passion. That's why you also chose the course, was it not? What are your plans after you graduate? Don't feel ashamed by your uncertainty. I'd be surprised if you had a clear goal. Literature opens a lot of doors into different fields. Curation, translation, historian, journalism, editor. And those are just the ones off the top of my head. Me? I knew I wanted to learn it, but I never thought I'd teach it. Being a professor wasn't on the agenda. Believe it or not, I wanted to revive one of the dead languages. There are almost 600 that are extinct, possibly more that we don't know of. But when I was younger, I was ambitious. I guess, in a way, you could say I wanted to be a literary archaeologist. I had planned to learn as many ancient languages as I could, but I took another path. I'd probably be off in some hot location digging through scrolls if I'd chased my dream. Come, I want to show you the new exhibit. Yes, it seems like it is human nature to document history somehow, whether that be through pictures or a writing system. But then, what happens when you speculate the use of pictographs and ideograms? In a way, it is a type of literature, isn't it? Preservation of history that can be read. I'm not surprised by how popular this will be. It's a limited showing. No, I haven't seen it yet. I was, waiting for you. My word. The Dead Sea Scrolls. Beautiful, isn't it? Speechless. This is only one of the scrolls. I think there are more than 900 manuscripts of either scrolls or fragments, all of which were found in 11 caves in the Judean desert. In one of them, it said the fragments were torn into 15,000 pieces. Here, come closer. So, this larger scroll here is written on parchment. These smaller fragments here are made of papyrus, but this one here is copper. It's a strip because when the scroll was initially found, the metal was corroded, so in order for the text to be read, it needed to be cut into sections. It's quite something, isn't it? I'm not looking at you in any kind of way. I said, didn't I? I wanted to experience this with you. I know that you are someone who can appreciate literature like I do. If there's one thing that I know about you, it's that you have no trouble speaking your mind, and I can see in your eyes when you're passionate about something. That spark is one of the reasons why I became a professor. But when you have it, I'm entranced. I can speak freely here. Right now, I don't want you to think of me as a teacher. I'm not thinking of you as a student, but a potential partner who I can share my interests and thoughts with. Shall we get something to eat? We shouldn't have this conversation by the Dead Sea Scrolls. Museum food is always expensive, but I can't complain. Being able to see the displays for free is good enough. Why you? That's a loaded question. On the surface, you're attractive, that's a given. Looks aren't everything, but they get my attention. What makes me linger is what's beneath the surface. You're inquisitive, smart, cunning, but mindful. You're not afraid to ask questions or go after what you want. Beyond that, I believe you to be a remarkable person that I have grown to like more than I'd care to admit. I said, I'm not thinking of you as a student here. I'm not bound by my profession. Ask away. I'll answer truthfully as your date. I'm never one to think too deeply on locations. It's the events that we remember more than the setting. But with a museum, it's a public space with history and culture. It's possible that other students will see us, but what of it? It could be coincidence that we came here at the same time and decided to explore together. So, to put it plainly, I wanted to take you to a place where we didn't have to act or look over our shoulders. I wanted you to feel comfortable. I'm glad I chose correctly then. No, I feel like dinner is too much. This is hopefully the first of many dates, and I don't want to overwhelm you. What? Did you think I'd be the type to do my own thing and pull you along without telling you anything? As much as spontaneity is good to have, it's better when there is a relationship first. Yes, that is what I want. And you? Well, if you'd said no, I'd be questioning all your actions up until now. I'm glad to know you no longer flirt with that friend. Besides, they seem to have moved on to someone else, so no harm done. It was a calculated move on your part, and it worked, though I'm ashamed to have fallen for it. Because I didn't realize how much I wanted you until I saw you with someone else. There's no one else I like, you don't need to worry. I only have eyes for you. I could say something much worse, like you being the most interesting piece of art in this museum or some such, but I won't stoop that low. I have standards. I'm glad I can be entertaining. I do find archaeology interesting, but what interests me more is not the relics, but the writings. As a people, we desperately search for things we don't understand, and explore beyond what's known. We're naturally curious, but incredibly stupid. Well, humans are curious, yes, But when they don't understand the thing they were searching for, they fear and condemn it. All museums are proof of that. I don't want to sound like I'm giving a lecture, so I'll leave it there. What have you liked so far? It's hard not to be fascinated by ancient Egyptian artifacts. I'd like to go to Egypt one day and see the hieroglyphs in the tombs. They're pictures, yes, but within them are stories. There's a certain quote I always refer to. History becomes legend, legend becomes myth. And in those dead languages are tales of the past that have been forgotten. But all the present needs is a translator. Maybe one day I'll pursue that dream again. Of course I'll continue to teach you, but you're not the only reason. There are other students in your class, you know. Come here. At university, we can't be like this. We have to maintain an appropriate distance. Before, I didn't allow myself to hope for something else. I took what I could because I couldn't control my desire for you. But now there's potential. I don't want to risk losing it. So if you truly want us to be in a relationship, then I need you to behave, not just in your classes, but in your assignments as well. Can you do that for me? You're right. There isn't a rule about professors dating students. I personally talked to the headmaster, and she said the same thing, though she also told me to tread carefully because it can be scandalous. And I'd prefer seeing you as a student in class and a lover outside of it. Will you do this for me? Thank you. Shall we continue? The oldest piece of literature? Good question. I know one of them is the Epic of Gilgamesh written in Sumerian that predates 2000 BC, and then there's also the Egyptian Book of the Dead. But those are existing sources that have been recovered. Think of probably thousands upon thousands of texts lost or destroyed like in the Library of Alexandria. Even in perhaps